In late July of 2021, I had an experience. I went to the cinema with my partner to see a movie. Now, we could have seen the new Suicide Squad, but she wanted to wait and watch that with her dad. Fair enough, but she later decided it was a bit too violent for his taste, meaning we could have gone and seen that. We could have had a lovely time with King Shark instead of... So we chose to see the other big release at the time, the newest film by M Night Shyamalan, Old. Now, to be clear, I did not have huge hopes for this movie going in. After all, the allure and shine of Midnight Chameleon has faded somewhat over the years.
Just going to talk in a very positive manner, giving off good vibes.
I'm a scary tree. But this film at least had an interesting concept. Friends, this film wasn't just bad. This film didn't just lower the bar like a fucking champion limbo dancer with a rubber spine trying to impress a crowd. No, this film, Old, is the worst movie I have ever seen. And I watch bad movies all the time. From Stonehenge Apocalypse.
You can see that the stones have moved. The big question is how.
To Raiders of the Lost Shark.
I'm not afraid of fish. I just said I didn't like them.
Oh, come on. What have fish ever done to you? Flying shark? Flying shark!
To Raptor, featuring the king himself, Mr. Eric Roberts.
Your lady friend isn't a very good poker player, Sheriff. She's just revealed her hand.
Actually, I prefer dominoes.
There is a joy and a charm to these kinds of films. Something to experience with friends while we sit in awe of the special effects and the acting. Oh, I love them. Yes, I've seen Sharknado, and no, I don't count it, because it's not really a B-movie, is it? It's a Hollywood budget cosplaying as a B-movie. It's the supermodel that plays the ugly girl in the film by wearing glasses and tying her fucking hair up. It's a betrayal of everything. The thing is, usually these films know they're bad. Some lean into it, but most of the time you have a team of less accomplished people on shoestring budgets trying to emulate what you might see in a Hollywood blockbuster. It's like watching a 3-year-old try to copy Michael Jordan after watching Space Jam. Come to think of it, Space Jam 2 is pretty fucking horrendous as well. I might need to make a few more rant videos after this. It's bringing something out in me. The point is, this movie wasn't bad in a fun way, nor was it bad in any kind of small way. This movie failed in absolutely everything it tried to do. And I can hear Ross now, oh, let's focus on the good things. Like, a lot of people worked on this film and there's surely some great stuff, right? Like the music or... Fine. The big swooping establishing shots of the beach, Ross, they're quite nice, okay? They happen a few times and it's really nicely done, but everything else is terrible. I sat in disbelief at the end of the movie. Not in awe or deep contemplation, fucking belief that the people who made this had the audacity to call it a film and charge people money to endure it. And here's the real kick to the clackers, friends. When I went home, I looked up some reviews for this film, looking for some kind of cathartic feeling of understanding and kinship as I watched people tear this film apart for being so astonishingly awful. Sure, I didn't find anyone saying it was awesome or film of the year or anything like that, but almost every reviewer was giving it a low to mid score while saying nothing about what merited anything above a score of 5 jobbies in a house fire, other than it's an interesting concept. Yeah, it fucking is. It's an interesting concept, but they didn't even come up with it. You might not know this, but Old was based on a Swiss graphic novel called Sandcastle by Pierre Oscar Levy and Frederick Peters. M. Night didn't just miss the mark. No, Shamalama Ding Dong here was handed a golden nugget and used it to pick the gunk out of his toenails before smashing his own head in with it. Then he wrote this movie. I guess I should explain why this movie is so bad in case you haven't seen it. Or if you saw it and you were just bored into some kind of indifferent stupor. So, spoiler warning, I guess? Like, if you're the kind of person who considers it a spoiler when someone tells you to watch your feet because there's dog shit in front of you. So this film is off to the races with some shockingly bad dialogue right from the start. The main family, who have zero chemistry with each other, by the way, are on their way to a hotel. Now, right after the incredibly clunky open line of "Sing it, girl," Shamalama Ding Dong manages to squeeze in 6 references to time passing or getting older in 19 seconds. Are you fucking kidding me? Way to use subtle foreshadowing in your scripts, M Night. Oh, and the mum is also texting through the ride. We find out later that she's been cheating on her husband, but don't worry, it's not important. Like, this film is full of moments that could have mattered, but just don't. Anyway, they arrive at the hotel and they're immediately greeted by the manager at the resort and given some cocktails specially made for them, which, like, I can relate to getting on the bevy the second you check in, but the plot kind of hinges on that fact. The fact that they'll accept it and drink it and not, like, try each other's or anything like that. I don't know, it's real fucking stupid, but look, it doesn't even crack my top 100 problems with this movie. But no, the most important thing about this scene is when she turns to her husband and says, "Can you believe I found this online?" Yeah, Priska, I fucking can! That's how most people find hotels. I'd be significantly more surprised if you found it on teletext. Oh yeah, her name is Priska, and her husband, the main guy in the film, his name is Guy. Good stuff. He works in insurance or something? I don't care. But when they enter the room, there's a big brochure for a pharmaceutical company on the bedside table. You know, like normal. And Guy then says this really natural line, "We love this pharmaceutical company at work." Come on, man. It was at this point I started to think there must be a reason, right? Some grand plan to explain why the acting and the dialogue was so incredibly forced and awkward. But no. Nah, it's just shite. And I literally laughed out loud in shock in the cinema not long after this moment. Because the youngest kid, right? They've got 2 kids. The young one, his name is Trent. And he's kind of the source of any charm in this movie. So he gets a wee pal at the resort, right? Cute. And he's hanging out with him. And this new friend turns and says, "Truth game, go!" Which, is that a thing? Anyway, Trent says, "Okay, I can't do a push-up. Go!" And the other kid goes, "I don't have any friends." I'm not laughing at the fact he doesn't have any friends, but what the fuck did you suggested this game just to pull a tonal shift on me more severe than a politician doing blackface for a college party. Come on. Also, side note, there's no way in hell this kid built that sandcastle with that bucket. He just didn't. But anyway, I'm not going to go scene by scene pointing out all the terrible dialogue and disjointed tonal moments, because honestly, it's every scene. And plus, this bit of the movie, before they get to the beach, it's only there for the big twist, which I'm not going to spoil, by the way. I'm not going to spoil the twist, but it's not a twist. It's so ham-fistedly foreshadowed throughout the entire fucking film. And even if you never saw it coming, because, I don't know, the film was such an assault on the senses that you went blind and deaf for its duration, it still had no weight to it. We didn't care, because we don't care about the characters, because they're written and performed so fucking badly. I just want to get to the point where we're at the beach, right? And then we can smash my remaining rants together to create some kind of delicious rage burger, and we can all move on with our lives. So, they get taken to the beach. Oh, wait, sorry. Okay, I actually do need to talk about the setup for them going to the beach, because fuck me. So the main family are sitting having breakfast or something, I don't care. And the resort manager comes over and he's like, "Hey, friends, I'm strangely personal. You'd think I've got other stuff to do. Anyway, what's your plans today?" And the mum, pointing at her 2 kids, says, "Well, he wants to do jet ski, but she wants to do anything but jet ski, lols." And he's like, yeah, I wasn't listening. "Anyway, you should go to my private beach. Sounds like a great memory for us." That's how she responds. Sounds like a great memory for us. So then they get taken to this beach by your boy, by the way, M Night, in a cameo he clearly fucking loved. And they go there with another family, right? That's made up of a granny and a wee dog, a blonde bimbo from the early 90s stereotype collection with a calcium deficiency. And yes, that is a plot point, and a hilariously large one. A toddler called Kara, and a doctor with schizophrenia, which they actually reveal to us in a very nuanced and delicate manner. Of course they don't. They have him flip out randomly and violently and dangerously and occasionally bring up a specific film, which, by the way, I really tried to find good things about this movie. I did. Okay, when I got home, I looked up the movie he's referencing to see if I had any sort of clever connection, and it's a Western called The Missouri Breaks, and no, of course it doesn't have any fucking relevance. Of course it doesn't. Stop believing in things. So when they arrive at the beach, right, there's another guy randomly sitting there, and the daughter recognizes him as a rapper called... His name is Mid-Sized Sedan. That's right. Mid-sized sedan. Look, jokes aside, I genuinely got hopeful here for a moment. Like, at that point in the film, I was like, hey, a joke about stupid rapper names. They could get a few laughs from... No, it's just his name. Just his completely stupid name. Anyway, yada yada, the beach is magic or whatever, and it makes you age at a rapid rate. And they figure out somehow, I don't know, that it's about a year for every 30 minutes that passes. So shit gets wild, right? The old lady dies, obviously, and... Oh, fuck me, I forgot the dog died! Oh my days. Like, how do you make a film where the dog dies and no one gives a candy-coated fuck? Like, it's one of the film's biggest issues. None of the moments feel big or important because the characters just move on so fucking quickly from everything. Like, the way I just told you about the dog death here in this video had exactly as much weight to it as it does in the film. I'm not even joking. It's almost impressive how many potentially important beats just fell flat. There's this plot convenience that they can't leave, right? Because the rock entrance that they came in through makes people pass out or something. Like, obviously only on the way out because plot convenience. But then they wake up on the beach after they pass out, but we never get an explanation. Like, did someone go in and get them when they were passed out? Was that hard for them to do? Like, that could have been an interesting thing to show, M. Night? No? So there's so much confusion, and the script is so disjointed and clunky that it takes you completely out of any drama that Granny died or that the toddler's pregnant. Oh, yeah. They make the child who, by the way, I researched it. According to IMDb, the character Kara is meant to be like 6 when they arrive, which is the same age as Trent. But she's still like being carried by her mum, so I don't know, I thought she was younger, whatever. So they age quickly like everyone, and they get to be young teenagers, and then I guess they accidentally make a baby, and because of the magic beach, she gives birth and the baby dies, and fuck me, this is some heavy shit! Or at least it could have been, but the audience was still in shock at this crazy tonal shift. The same character who we just saw as a 6-year-old a minute ago is still acting like a child. She's still saying like, oh, we were just playing and I just got a little fat. Suddenly she's given birth, and what the fuck is with this movie? I'm not talking about that anymore. The point is there's too many of those moments to list. The film is just full of fucking plot points that could have meant something but just didn't. It becomes laughable, but in that awkward, uncomfortable way where you're just laughing because you feel ugh, and it drains any potential tension or even interest. It's like watching a rotating wheel of circus freak shows while listening to the world's worst storyteller try to recall an amusing day at the paint drying factory. It's just a weird ride, man. And there's weird moments that Shyamalama Ding Dong comes back to, like the really clever script seeds that have come to bloom, but they're just dumb. The most obvious one being the calcium lady. Oh my days. Yeah, I told you earlier that was a plot point. So how to explain this? So after establishing that she has a calcium deficiency via the clever means of having her say it over and over while inquiring to a waiter about the calcium bomb juice, good lord. The aging process makes her turn into some rickety Quasimodo. Like, she doesn't seem to age in the way everyone else does, but she gets a humpback and she starts chasing the kids through the caves because they looked at her. Oh, anyway, all her bones start snapping and she screams, "I need calcium!" In a scene that, by the way, was presented as horror, but the entire cinema was now laughing out loud at this. Because of course they fucking fucking were. Then there's other moments that feel like he was paying no attention at all. Like there's a lot of examples, but the one that stuck out to me was the fact that Trent, the young boy, he was presented as being autistic, but then he got older and just kind of stopped. Like, I don't think that was the point. I fucking hope that wasn't the point, but it's such a weird and shitty move to want to represent an autistic child but decide you can't be fucking bothered scripting an adult that way. I don't know, that bit just bothered me. Oh, and Midnight Sedan. God, this character. I had so much hope for this film because of this character, right? As soon as he arrived, he was mysterious and he seemed important, but I can't, no. So mind when I said he was already there when they arrived? Well, he'd been there all night, right? And he doesn't look like he's aged, by the way, like at all. They make a little black don't crack kind of joke, but come on. So we know he's been there all night, right? Because we get to see the night before, and he's there with some girl, and she takes off her clothes and goes for a night swim, only to never come back. And he's just sat there on the beach till the next day looking mysterious, right? Oh, and his nose keeps bleeding, right? So I'm like, cool. Maybe he's what's causing the aging, or he's supernatural in some way, and Shyamalan definitely tried to play it that way, only to go, surprise! Twist! Oh, twist, haha! He's just a normal dude. Okay, ding dong, you got me. I didn't see that coming, but not because you were clever, but because it means none of his actions make any fucking sense, you noodle-haired nugget! When I mentioned bad movies before, I missed out the most famous example. The Room. If you don't know, The Room is widely regarded as the worst movie ever made. Like Old, The Room fails in practically every sense a movie can. It is a symphony of failure, written, directed and starring everyone's favourite alien in a cheap human suit, Tommy Wiseau. Unlike Old, which was written by, directed and featuring one of the most well-known and successful names in the last 25 years of Hollywood, M Night Shyamalan. Here's the thing though. The Room has become something special. To this day, indie cinemas and festivals around the world will host screenings of this film, sometimes attended by the man himself. Yes, I have met him. He asked me where he could buy a full suit of armour. And people flock to these screenings and treat it like a pantomime. There's call and response moments, chanting along with the terrible dialogue and cheering for the hero. People took this disaster of a movie and decided to make it an enjoyable experience to share with friends. And this is my hope for Old. It certainly does not deserve any kind of praise, but it also doesn't deserve to be forgotten about. No, we can't let this atrocity get away with simply being forgotten. So watch Old with your friends, but be clear before you begin that this is bad. This is awful. This is a train wreck. This is the worst movie you have ever seen. Let's celebrate how fucking ridiculous it is and how terribly executed every single moment in this plague of a movie truly is, because I need to justify the seething rage this film handed to me. And forgiveness is the first step. So Old, M Night, I don't hate you. I love you. You are my favourite terrible film, because when it comes to making the worst movie I've ever seen, you are in a class of two, my friend, and Tommy Wiseau is going to start asking to copy your homework. Is it just me, or would the doctor probably have had a tetanus shot? Also, yeah, rust kills you instantly, but Priska, she had 6 sandy hands all up in her and she healed just fine. What the